when you went into the season with Alec Pierce, did you have anticipations on what you could expect from him, and has he exceeded it in 6 games?
Yeah, I think the I think the interesting thing is the longer I've played, the more you're not always 100% sure of what to expect. Um, he impressed me, as soon as he got here, of just his ability to run routes, his ability to catch the ball. His ball skills are very good. Um, but games can be different, and how guys process games and what they do, and so you're never quite sure. I thought he was going to be, solid for us. I think he's probably exceeded, the expectation of, he's had a lot of production, and particularly late in games, in critical situations, he's had a lot of production, and that's probably, been the thing that maybe exceeds what I expected from him. But we're lucky to have him.
The first game, when he drops a touchdown pass, can you put that out of your mind real quick and you go to him and say, you'll have a lot more chances?
Yeah, I think particularly it was so early in that game too. It's like, hey man, there's gonna be another chance, during the course of this game. You're gonna have to make a play for us, and it was just a shame it was the first one. Like it was kind of the first one that went his way. But I think the best part about him is the way he responds, to that. It's a lot of guys that I know it's only one play, but it can be, it can be difficult for people to do it. And just his demeanor never really changed. He's the exact same way, whether it's after that catch or whether it's after, a good catch. I mean, he has that demeanor of just continuing to compete no matter what.
The way that he got back into his stack on that route to not allow the opponent to use the sideline as a defender, is that like a veteran detail that usually veterans have on those plays?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of times, there's two things on go routes that can kind of throw you off. And number one is not being patient with the release. And number two is not saving space. A lot of times DBs are trying to use that sideline to kind of widen you and slip and limit the amount of space that you have to make that play. And honestly, that's something he's worked hard on, from the beginning of his time here. He's very productive doing that stuff in college, but it's just different the way the hashes are, how good the DBs are at kind of squeezing off that space. I think that's something that he's really improved at.
This hasn't been a Penn Charter offense the last 2 weeks. 99 pass attempts. What's the next step for the offense, man?
Triple option, I guess, right? Like going back to Penn Charter days. But yeah, I think my last high school game we had like 8 pass attempts or something. So it's like a drive last week. Yeah, I think so. I think it was eight pass attempts.
So 50 less then.
Yeah, 50 less. But you do what you have to do in order to win football games. Obviously that's not going to be every week. Where you're throwing the football that much. But the good part about our guys is, to a man, 11 guys out there, no matter what's going on, they're going to compete and not really worried about how we do it. It's just finding a way to get it done.
Matt,
But 50 is
the coach said a
sustainable.
long time ago that I think he said quarterbacks throw to guys they trust. Whether they say it or not, they throw to guys they trust. Did you feel that sort of happen? Was it Denver with Alec? When did you start to really be crunch time, tight window? I can go to this guy.
I think back to Kansas City. He made a great catch for us on the sideline in the fourth quarter, to kind of put us in position to allow Jelani to make a play. But honestly, you look across the board, we've spread it around pretty good, where we have a lot of different guys. Dion, I don't know how many catches he had last week, but he had 10 catches. It's a lot of catches, and so we've spread it around pretty good. So I think it shows that there is a level of trust, across the board. But I agree with that. You have to trust the players around you, and when you don't, you have to earn the coach's trust too. When you don't, you're not going to be out there.
Isn't it fair that 50 is unsustainable over and over again attempts?
Yeah, yes. It's probably. Listen, we're not going to throw 50 times every week. It's not going to happen. I don't know how many times even in my career, but it's less than a dozen, you know? Yeah, yeah, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. But
Sorry, but
yeah, I mean, so it's not going to happen all the time. It happens occasionally, and when it does, you've got to make it work. But you know, more often than not, you're striving for some balance, and I think, you know, on balance for the year, I think those things kind of tend to come back, you know, more towards a balanced offense.
Frank was just talking about this generally, and he said, you know, what you have is very, very well, so it's like do what you have to do. But if you couldn't throw it successfully, that would be a problem, right? If you did throw it 58 times, if it wasn't generating anything, it doesn't get you anywhere. I guess my question is, the fact that you were able to generate a consistent passing game, does it show the versatility maybe of the offense?
I think so.
I think people thought this is this run first team, you know?
Sure, you know, and obviously we'd like to be firing on all cylinders. You know, I think that's when we're going to be at our best. But I've always felt like, you know, if we have to do it, I trust myself, I trust our guys up front, and they played really well. You know, one of the things we talked about in the off season was having an unselfish group and guys, you know, not only accepting roles but embracing roles, and that means different things different weeks. You know, there's going to be weeks where, you know, Pitt doesn't have 13 catches, but he's got a force block for JT 15 to 20 times in a game. You got to go dig safeties out, and you got to embrace that and accept it and do it for the team. And I think we've got a good group like that.
On a personal level, with the comebacks, I think Roethlisberger's up next. Where does that one stack up for you in terms of the numbers and the records that you're continue to climb?
It's always a good stack because they're wins, you know. Those are the ones that you like, and there's nothing wrong with winning from in front, though, too. You know, there's nothing wrong with, you know, playing with the lead and closing people out earlier. But it goes back to, you know, when you have a chance late in the game. That's in this league, it comes down to that more often than not, and you've got to have belief that you're going to go do it. But I am proud of that.
Frank just said, you know, all roads go through Nashville. With this being the last division game until Week 18, what does the mentality of this team need to be this week?
Yeah, there's got to be a good sense of urgency. It's a really good football team, you know, in Tennessee. Obviously, they've you know, owned the division the last handful of years, and it's a good physical defense, physical run game. Ryan Tannehill's a good player, and you know, so they're a very balanced team. It's going to take, you know, really good effort from us. We're going to have to play, you know, good football, the kind of football that, you know, we envisioned as this team was coming together during the spring. We're going to have to play clean. We're going to have to play tough and find a way. But I got a lot of confidence in our group.